Hello, everyone. Welcome to A Garden a Day with Maidenbrock Gardens, where we explore the world one garden at a time. Today is September 1st. Today's Labor Day here in the U.S., the unofficial last day of summer. It's back to school, back to work, and back to routines tomorrow. For us here in the garden, it's the start of the annual winding down, trying to finish up some projects before winter forces us to quit. Planting bulbs, cleaning up beds, putting away the watering hoses. We usually have until the end of October before we call it quits, but the weather lately has been nudging us along. Autumn came early this year, but like anyone who works with nature, we will just have to wait and see. To end our summer holiday, we are headed to one of the prettiest parts of our great country, to an East Coast vacation destination. We are going to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, to the Elizabethan Gardens in Manteo. I don't know about you, but I love a good mystery, and I have been annoyed in recent years when historians state full stop that they absolutely know for certain the fate of one of America's greatest mysteries, the lost colony of Roanoke. Quite honestly, I don't want to know. I like the possibility that the colonists survived and went to live with a local tribe. I like the possibility that they moved further inland and set up a new camp. I don't like that they could have all been massacred, but I do like that their fate could have been any number of things. I like it that way. I just like to keep the mystery going. Anyway, in 1950, a group of influential North Carolinian women were visiting the site of the lost colony and had an idea to plant a garden to enhance the historic site and provide an additional attraction for visitors. They approached the Garden Club of North Carolina, who agreed to the plan. They procured a 99-year lease for 2 acres at the Roanoke Island Historic Site. The original idea for the garden was to build something that the original colonists would have planted at the fort settlement. But then, by chance, the group was gifted an Italian fountain and pool with balustrade, wellhead, sundial, bird baths, stone steps, and benches that all dated before the time of Queen Elizabeth I. With these gifts, the simple garden design of colonists was changed to a more elaborate Elizabethan pleasure garden design, though adapted to 20th century comforts and ideals. And the 2-acre garden became a 10-acre garden. Construction began on a date another Elizabeth would remember, June 2nd, 1953, the date Queen Elizabeth II was crowned Queen of England. Construction of the garden took some time, and the garden was officially opened on August 18, 1960, which also happened to be the 373rd anniversary of the birth of Virginia Dare, the first English child born in America. There are several artifacts kept in the Garden's Gate house that, though not directly from the lost colony, are of the age. A sea chest, a corner cupboard, and table are some of the oldest pieces in the collection. There's also an oil painting of Queen Elizabeth I and a later map of Devonshire, which was the home of many of those first colonists. In the gardens, visitors will find herbs mentioned by Shakespeare and a mix of North Carolina native plants, before descending into the sunken garden, a formal garden with 32 identical parterres. In 1976, a rose garden was added to honor Queen Elizabeth II. In 1981, a gazebo was erected at the site, overlooking the Roanoke Sound. The gazebo followed a design that was period appropriate, and it was built with tools of the era. The lawn where the drama of the Lost Colony is performed each summer is located next to the gardens. An ancient live oak in the area is thought to have been there as far back as the Lost Colony itself. Near the oak is a camellia collection. Visitors will also enjoy the butterfly garden and the woodland garden. One of the more controversial aspects of the garden is the Virginia Dare statue. The statue was carved in 1859 by an American artist living in Rome named Maria Louise Lander. It depicts Virginia Dare as an adult, an idealized version of what she might have looked like if she survived to adulthood. Of course, no one knows what happened to Virginia Dare, so no one knows if she survived to adulthood or not. The statue was sent by ship to Boston, but a severe storm off the coast of Spain wrecked the ship, sending its cargo, including the statue, to the bottom of the Atlantic. 2 years later, the wreck was salvaged, and the statue returned to the artist. An art collector in New York bought the statue, but then his studio caught fire. The statue was saved, but again was returned to the artist. Maria Louise Lander kept the statue this time and willed it to the state of North Carolina after her death. In 1926, the state accepted the statue and placed it in the Hall of History in Raleigh. Almost immediately, complaints were made to the Department of Archives and History. The adult Virginia Dare, clad only in fishnet, was considered obscene by some. The statue was moved to the basement of the Supreme Court building. In the 1930s, when the Lost Colony drama was written, it was decided the statue should be placed at the historic site. But controversy followed the statue again. Since no one knew for certain if Virginia Dare survived to adulthood, the decision was made to keep the statue in its shipping crate backstage. There it remained until the end of World War II, when it was sent to Paul Green, writer of the Lost Colony drama, at his estate in Chapel Hill. He never got around to erecting the statue on his estate, and when the Elizabethan Gardens were created, Green sent the statue to the gardens. There she stands today at the base of an ancient live oak. The garden hosts events throughout the year, from regular butterfly releases to garden workshops and social events such as the upcoming Autumn Ale Fair in October. They also offer field trips, summer camp, and preschool programs in the spring. The garden is a popular spot for bird watching. The garden is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sundays. They host a Winter Lights event in December from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. each evening. They are closed for Thanksgiving and Christmas and for the entire month of January. Well, that's about it for today's garden visit. Join me here tomorrow to find out where we're going next. As a reminder, you can subscribe, like, or follow this podcast at any of the podcast listening places. You can subscribe to our mailing list by visiting our website, agardenaday.com, and clicking on the subscribe button. You can also find us on Pinterest, and you can support us by buying a book through our storefront on Bookshop. Links are provided in the show notes for this episode. Thank you for listening today and every day. If all goes well, I'll be right back here tomorrow. See you then.